Hello and welcome to Talk from Superheroes. Hey everybody, I'm Andrew Ivamy.
And I'm Diana McCullum.
And you're listening to Talk from Superheroes, where every week we discuss a piece of heroic television or film. And this week on the podcast, we are talking about Andor Season 2.
We consider this television. It is the entirety of Season 2 that we will be covering.
We do consider this television.
I don't know, equal to a movie.
All right.
Yeah, but
I didn't know we had to classify.
Just so you know, in case you're Googling and you're like, is Andor? Because you know what? Not related to Andor, but for many, many months, they did not clarify if Thunderbolts was a show or a movie.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. Well, this is something that does happen now in the age of streaming services where producers own the distribution channels, where they're like, it's coming out.
And we're like, what is it? How long is it? And they're like, you'll see it.
It's Apple makes it. And it's like, well, do I go to a movie theater? And they're like, oh, boy, you'll see that Apple logo first, won't you? So, yeah, sometimes that does happen.
Yeah, it's an age of lack of information, which is so great when you want people to go to see your thing.
Yeah.
But Andor didn't really do that, so I should.
No, and yeah.
Andor was pretty clear it was a show since it's a season 2.
We're just having a goof. We're having a lighthearted goof here. Us on this podcast at this time of day. In this kitchen. So, yeah, we're just having a little goof there. But we're talking about all of Season 2 of Andor on today's episode of the podcast. It's a new show. It only just wrapped up last week. Since it is new, anytime that we talk about a new property, we always give you a spoiler-free review in case you're unsure if it's worth your time. Then, once you hear the theme music, we will be entering the spoiler-filled section. So a spoiler-free review. Let's start with it. The usual simple question. Diana, did you like it?
I loved it. I am stingy with my loves. I give things a high like a lot of the times, and I save my loves for things like Andor Season 2. This ruled. Just as good as 1. We loved Andor Season 1. It's so good. The performances, the storytelling, the themes to real world, the way it like entertains you while smartly teaching you the tactics of fascism and how to rebel against them. The performances. Did I say the performances? I don't care. Everyone's so good. It also just looks great. The costumes, the CG. It's the highest of art in every way. Andor Season 2 frickin' rules. It's all just so good. Even if there was no parables to the real world, it'd be like, what a great show about like the building of the rebellion. I love that there's no Jedi. It's just the actual like on the ground human fighters. It shouldn't be called Andor so much. It really is like the rebellion, I think, at the end of the day. But like that's not a problem. So it's a wonderful show. It's so good. So the highest of likes, it gets a love, Andor Season 2. Andrew, did you like Andor S2?
I am a high like. It's not quite a love for me. I respect it. I think it's great. I agree that it's really well made. It's high art. It's thoughtful. It's beautiful. It's important. I highly recommend it for everyone, and I have no regrets about watching it. And it just didn't quite hit me as emotionally hard as Season 1 did. I never had like an open weep like I had in Season 1. It never got the full tears. It definitely had me thoughtful and considerate, and it's an incredibly well done piece of television. And it's slightly below the impact that Season 1 had on me. And that might be a personal thing. There's no particular aspect of this season of the series where I'm like, here's where they dropped the ball and lost me. So there's no particular negative where I'm subtracting points or anything like that. It just didn't hit me in the chest as hard as Season 1 did. And I'm not entirely sure why. It maybe just doesn't quite connect in that way. Maybe it's just the place that, maybe it's a me thing. Maybe it's the place that I'm in mentally watching this season versus the previous one. Unsure. But I really do like it, and I recommend anyone watch it, and I think it's high art.
I actually can get what you're saying, though. I think Season 1 had bigger set pieces that came together in a more impactful way. Like, the Season 1 had the heist. And the heist was, like, fun, because it's like, it takes, like, 3 episodes to get just this singular heist together, and then the heist happens. And it also has the prison breakout, which I think is the highlight of both seasons.
Yes.
I forget what they even chant as they leave, but we all go, or we only have one chance or something. So I think that, like, there isn't that high of a high I think that Season 1 had, but I think the quality is is still just as good, and like the storytelling is incredible.
Yeah, yeah, and it might just be a personal preference thing as well, where season 1 was a lot about the one-on-one connections, whether it was the relationship with Andy Serkis's character in the prison, with his adoptive mother figure as well. It was really personalized. It was really like, here is the one person I am interacting with and how they affect me and my perspective on the rebellion and what is happening in this universe. And I think very personal stories are ones that I emotionally connect to in a stronger way. And this season, even though that there are some great character pieces and some phenomenal performances and definitely some personal stuff, it doesn't feel as much of these like mini arcs about one individual friendship or one individual paternal figure. It's a lot bigger picture stuff about what a rebellion means, what false operations can do, what it means to stand up, what it means to stand up in different ways, which is very intelligent and thoughtful and smart, but it doesn't hit me in the heart as much as small personal connections with that as the backdrop hit me. And that's what season 1 was, in my opinion.
I can get behind that, yeah. As much as I said, the show is called Andor, but it is really about the rebellion in season 2. And Cassian doesn't go on all that much of an arc. He's a rebel at the beginning, he's a rebel at the end. But
yeah.
So yeah, there's the personal connections aren't what they were in season 1, where he was absolutely not a rebel at the beginning.
Yeah, season 1 was about people changing him into one, like him learning from those around him and from the universe that they live in, obviously, because you need to be living under authoritarianism in order to have that story of rising up against. But yeah. So more personal season 1, more political season 2, and I respect both, but one hits me a bit harder.
I can agree with this. Yeah.
And can it be spoiled?
Yeah. I mean, not super hard because, like, you know, Cassian's gonna live. It's a prequel to Rogue One.
Yeah, you know what they're pretty much building up to.
You know what they're building up to, but there's like some deaths and some twists that you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I agree that there are definitely some twists along the way that are nice, but not necessarily needed to be experienced. And there's no fan service, very much like season 1. You're not going to be watching this. You're going to be like, well, that's Kit Fisto's jacket that he backflipped off of Mace Windu with in episode 2. Like, no.
That means Kit Fisto's alive.
You've got to look at that. And if you watched all of Rebels, then you'll see that this one animated character's ship is in the background. Huff, but none of that is in here.
Love that about it.
And love that about it. So it's not overflowing with Easter eggs. There's not anything that you're like, I gotta not be spoiled for the big surprise appearance of Darth Vader with Yoda on his back.
No, everything that could be an Easter egg is literally just setting up Rogue One, which is canon.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, of course he had to put that specific jacket on.
Yes.
Because Rogue One's about to start.
And that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think so. A couple little details that are nice, but I wouldn't worry too much about spoilers.
Nothing that I would have read in a tweet and been like, well, I'm not watching now.
Yeah, agreed. Well, that is it for the spoiler-free section. Now let's get into the spoiler-filled section. Let's talk more about Andor Season 2. I wished the third thing rhymed. I wish it was season 4.
Because then it would have rhymed with Andor.
Yeah, with more Andor season 4.
We can pretend the second half of Rogue One is season 4.
Yeah, that doesn't.
No,
that doesn't help too much, though.
No,
the second half. Of,
well, the first
you're gonna
half
split
is
the
season
movie.
3.
The first half is season. I like where your head's at. Fuck it, we're all playing jazz. I love and appreciate you.
I'm working here.
We're all working here. A fun, good show.
I think a great show, but I think after what you said, I'm like, yes, I don't think it reaches season 1 levels, but I think I can love both in different ways.
I respect that. I respect that for you.
Yeah, because I think what I like about I think I like a lot more little things about season 2, and I liked a lot of big things about season 1. In season 2, there's this it's this small pervasive stuff about like this really the season really does make you feel about why the Empire's bad. Like in the original movies, they have a Death Star, so of course they're bad, but why is it bad to be living under them all the time? And it's just these little authoritarian, like surveillance state things. And then this huge mood shift when you get to Yavin, and you can feel the difference of what being free feels like. Like these people, even though they're soldiers who are like fighting a rebellion, just feel loose, and they feel like they have souls, and they feel like they're actually relaxed when they're on Yavin. Whereas every single character in every other scene that isn't Yavin, you can just feel that their shoulders are up in their neck. Like no one's ever relaxed, no one's ever taken a breath. But on Yavin, you can feel this sense of like they're breathing and they're living.
Yeah.
Even the way that like the houses don't have doors and you just walk through because they're like, we're free and nothing can happen to us here. It's just these little things that I really like about the sense that this show gives me of like hopelessness, but also hopefulness and freedom versus authoritarianism. It just does great job.
It does a great job, and bringing back in that like piece of that speech diary that the guy had from season 1, I think is a really nice bit of writing and kind of pulls it together really well about like what freedom means to these people. And I think it's a nice change from season 1, where like season 1 is about kind of being pushed down into the mud and then realizing like we need to tear down the Empire. And this season is the transition from tear down to build up, to be like, we're not tearing down the Empire, we're building up a rebellion, which I think in several ways was one of the themes that they were trying to do in The Last Jedi, which was the whole conversation with Poe and with Laura Dern's character about like, are you fighting against or for something? And I feel like the second half of season 1 and the beginning of this season are about like, we're fighting against the Empire. And it's about making that switch to be like, no, we're fighting for these moments of freedom that we have. These moments on Yavin, these moments in our home, the relationships that we should be allowed to build. That's what we're fighting for, and I really like that as a transition as well.
Yeah, you can definitely feel the transition. So yeah, just nice things like that. And I think in season 1 is so you become a rebel because you get targeted, like because like the system actually breaks you, like he goes to prison for not doing anything at all. But this season feels like everyone who hasn't even been targeted is just this sucks.
Yeah.
Everyone who's just living their lives under Empire control hates it.
Yep.
No one is kind of just like, that's fine if you just like don't bother them.
Yeah.
Literally everyone was like, you can't not bother them.
No, you can't. And one thing that I really like that I think is brilliant, a bigger picture thing about this season, is the way that all of the villains, the way that like the members of the Empire all get kind of destroyed by it, like the way that Deidre and Cyril all die, not in a like heroic, like yay, they got their comeuppance.
Yes.
Just they're crushed by the machine that they've been building, and I really like that as well because season 1 I think has a lot to say about for those who try to stay out of the fight. There is no good enough of a citizen that you can be that you won't be trampled. And even like after he gets away with the heist, Andor has that moment at the like resort or whatever. He's hidden his money and he's just kind of walking around and gets randomly grabbed and sent to a forced labor prison because they're just rounding up people because they need extra labor and there's no way to escape it. You cannot be a quiet enough and a good enough citizen under authoritarianism. And then this season is more about you cannot be a good enough officer that it also won't chew you up. To be like, we need you to know that if you think you can work with this system, whether it is being a part of it or being a citizen under it, there is no amount of good boy that you can be that you will not be ground into dust.
Yeah, you will never be a perfect enough cog in this machine that you will never be replaced. Like,
yeah.
All cogs break.
Beautiful.
Every gear is shut down. And like I like the different ways that they get their comeuppance. Like Cyril realizes this is not what he wanted and it's more evil than he expected. And he just kind of gets a quick death. Dedra just very slowly is evil and is imprisoned by her own people, which I think is chef's kiss, and I believe it's the same prison Andor went to. It looks the exact same. So I think she's making parts for the Death Star.
For Death Star or Death Star 2.
Yeah,
because they are
whenever-
making a second one.
They do
secretly.
eventually make a second one. Or I guess like 3 of them. Oh, the Star Eater was the new one. Never mind.
Yeah, and that was
years later.
that was a different regime.
That was
and-
years later.
yeah.
But yeah, so I think she's building parts like Cassian was.
Yeah.
And then the other guy shoots himself. And so, and even every character we meet, like we know Krennic dies in Rogue One. We know
Yeah.
Darth Vader eventually dies. We know Palpatine's killed. It's like it's great that like no one ever gets away with it, but they find their comeuppance. Yeah, you're right, through the system. Like Cassie doesn't kill any of them.
In this show, anyway.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the other characters in the bigger lore are more of a, like, rah-rah.
Pew pew! I shot you with a laser.
Yeah, Luke lifted the Emperor up and yeeted him down a tube forever. That's a fun, like, the hero did it. Whereas this is more just say, like, no, you pieces of shit, you can't be part of the system, an evil system good enough that they'll forgive you or that you'll be rewarded in any way.
The leopards will eat your face.
Yes, you can't keep voting for the Leopard Party.
No.
They will eventually eat your
They
face.
get hungry enough and
Yep.
they'll come for your face. Your face is really close. It's right there.
It's right there.
It's right there.
And I even like with Cyril's death as well. Him kind of realizing that he's fucked up to a certain degree, or maybe not necessarily, like, I might be giving him too much credit or giving the performance maybe a certain credit to say that he realizes he fucked up. He realizes things are fucked up, and he still kind of fights Cassian just because you're here and this is all I know. This is all I've been worked up about to a certain degree. Yeah. I kind of like that being also how he dies.
I like that too. I actually had a different read. What I like about Cyril is like evil to an extent, but even through all of season 1, Cyril is only going after Cassian because Cassian killed 2 guards. Cyril's a cop more than he is an officer or a believer in the Empire.
Yes.
At the end of the day, Cyril is like, he killed 2 people, justice must be served, I'm going to track Cassian Andor down. So he didn't want to destroy Gorman. He didn't know why he was there, and he should have asked more questions. But this is not what he thought he was finding criminals. I'm almost like, I would bet my life at the end of the day. He's like, we're finding criminals. And that feels great. And when he sees what he's actually done, it breaks him. And I think when he sees Cassian, he's like, it's kind of almost like a life raft of like, I can catch a criminal in the middle of this.
I can do the thing
that I was
this is all I
trying
wanted to do,
I
really.
just wanted to catch this murderer.
Yeah. Yep.
So I think he's like very complicated and very interesting in that way of not really like we'll do whatever the Empire asks, but I don't think he's really actually a believer or knows what their goals or beliefs are. He really is just like justice.
He's not a true believer the way some are. No,
Yeah.
certainly. He's not a, like, we need to cleanse the galaxy of the rebel scum. Like, he's not that type of guy. I think that Kyle Solar, who does a great job of playing him as well.
So good.
And I think is playing him as like a soft neurodivergent as well, to be like everything needs to be as followed and as stated by the rules. Otherwise, I'm quite upset.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not because I'm a true believer, but it's because the rules are rules. Rules should never be broken, and I actually don't necessarily question why or anything like that.
Rules are how I understand society at all.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in many ways, he's being taken advantage of. I feel like he is the same character working for the Republic as he is working for the Empire. Like, I think that he is someone who's just like, no, there was a rule, my boss told me to do something, and I follow it through. Like, he probably would have done that under the Republic, under the Empire, under the New Republic. Like, he was just always a cog. He is a cog through and through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which still, is evil when working under an evil regime. But Deidre is something different. Deidre is someone who wants the reward, who wants a biscuit and does not care who dies to make it, kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually. Yeah, she confuses me a little. Not confuses me, but
Right on
like
me.
I don't feel like she wants power, even as she's all in on the Empire, obviously. But I don't know if she wants power because as they describe her as like a scavenger, she'll work on all these files without credit. She just wants to catch the bad guy. But then again, she does go after Luthen alone, so I guess she does kind of want at least some credit or she wants her own reward for her own work.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't feel like she's trying to like take anyone else's job or personally oppress anyone, and she didn't even want the Gorman assignment. That wasn't anything she was interested in, of like destroying this whole society.
Yeah.
So she's like definitely evil, but in a way that I'm like, I actually don't know what you want at the end of the day.
I read her character as someone who wants praise and control more than money or power.
Oh, control is very good, because the Empire definitely wants control.
Yeah. So it's like if she's not paid as much as someone else in the room, that isn't necessarily a big problem. If she doesn't have the rank of someone else in the room, that's not necessarily a big problem. But she wants to be told that she's done a good job, and she wants even the people above her or to the side of her to know that she's kind of secretly in charge. So I think praise and control are the two things that she's out for.
Okay, I can see that. That
Is
might
how I
explain.
read it.
No, I like that, because it would explain why she didn't want the Gorman assignment, because it was such a big secret.
Yeah.
Like when she's hunting for rebels, when she's hunting for Cassian and Luthen, everyone knows she's doing that. And they're like, oh, she's doing a good job hunting those rebels. But if she has to hide on Gorman for months and no one tells her she's doing a good job, and she's doing a slow insurgency over 2 years, that's going to be like annoying. I'm like, no one's going to say I did a good job while I'm Gorman.
She is not the cog person the way Cyril is. She doesn't want to be told to go be part of a machine long term. She wants to be doing a bigger thing. She wants to zoom out.
I can get that.
Yeah. And Denise Gow does does also a wonderful performance. Holy shit.
God, I believe, I didn't see the interview, but who was telling us that like her mother told her she has resting trout face, which is such a terrible thing to say to your own daughter.
That is like a roast battle level slam.
Yeah, were you guys like doing a rap battle?
Resting trout face.
And I didn't say that, her mom did, but the huge scowl she puts on Dedra's face is so good. It so encapsulates the character without feeling like a caricature. Like it feels like that's her face. It's very real, but just the way that she'll just stoically let it droop down is...
And like that's her face to an extent. Like I don't think that's...
I think they're highlighting it with makeup and like...
And she is elevating that performance. Like as much as like her mother might have made that joke of resting trout face. It's like I've seen a handful of media interviews or pieces with her. She's got actually a pretty big bright smile.
Oh, yeah,
it's
she's
very
happy as
likable,
hell.
happy as hell. I'm gonna put it up there with like Carl Urban as Dredd with the like how do you train your face muscles to scowl that hard for 8 hours a day on set or whatever your filming schedule is. It's very impressive to train your face to do that much as well.
Yeah.
And she really works it.
She really works it. And then we have Luthen, who's back from season 1.
Yeah.
I will say he's very good. He's always been good. I will say kind of what you're saying about season 1. He never gets like a great monologue. Like he'll like never live up to that season 1 monologue, but he only got a few good like lines.
Yeah.
But he didn't get like a big moment like he did in season 1.
Well, I agree, and I think that that's a shame for incredible performer Stellan Skarsgård, but I think that narratively that does work, because this season is about the transition from his era to the era of Mon Mothma, from the quiet shadows into the loud resistance.
And she's doing public speeches.
Yes, and she gets the powerful speeches. She gets the strong stuff here, and he is the one who's kind of floundering and hanging on to what once needed to be done, but no longer needs to be done. So I get why he doesn't have the big, powerful speeches anymore, because he's not the one we should all be looking at.
Give him like a quiet speech at the beginning.
Give him a quiet something.
Give him a little speech. The only thing he got that was really great was when he was about to kill Mon Mothma's friend, and she was like, "I don't know what you mean." He was like, "How nice for you."
How nice for you.
How nice for you. Oh.
When she's in denial about what's happening. I don't know what you mean. How nice for you.
How nice for you.
Get the fuck out of here, Stellan.
Oh, great writing.
Really good writing. And it would not be a Disney product if they did not use the de-aging machine at some point along the line, huh?
Did they de-age him in the flashbacks?
They did de-age a little bit. I think it was...
I mean, there was so much lack of, like, anything, because he's, like, not done up in, like, the wig and stuff that he wears as Luthen.
Okay. Well, he's in, like, a different wig or a CGI. They gave him more hair back for, and, like, the crew cut and this and that. I will say it was a tasteful amount of de-aging. It was a tasteful amount. I still don't know if we needed to put him in the de-aging computer and at Disney, because especially for Stellan Skarsgård a man who has like 32 kids
Who all act.
Like, I'm sorry, we couldn't get Philip Skarsgård to come play young you. There's so many of you. Why did we not get one of your kids to come play young you?
And I do love when a kid plays young you.
And there is
like,
no one better equipped.
Wyatt Russell playing Kurt Russell,
Yeah.
Bill Paxton's son playing him in S.H.I.E.L.D. episode flashbacks. Like it's more of a fun Easter egg than a de-aging machine. It's like, wow, that guy really nailed that performance of Stellan. Who was that? Oh, it was his son.
It was
you look it up on IMDb, and it was his son.
And Stellan Skarsgård has a stable of children. Just
pick one.
Pick one.
One of them was free.
Yeah, one of them's available.
One of them would have loved to come and.
I know one of them's Murderbot, and then one of them's got to be available.
Pennyworth.
One of them Pennywise. Yeah. But they're not filming that right now.
No, they're done making it movies. He's doing stuff all the time, though.
Yeah, they work.
I think there's like a third one even.
I think I actually looked. I think there's 9.
Well, like how many acts?
How many acts?
I think 3 acts.
I think there's a big 3 for acting.
There's a big 3.
There's a big 3 for acting.
There's only 2 Hemsworths, but we got 3 Skarsgårds.
Yes.
Unless the third one is him, like the dad.
No, big. There's 3 kids then.
Okay.
Yeah, big, or 3 big noteworthy kids. But it's just funny though. It's not Disney if they don't put you in the de-aging machine.
Oh, well, a de-aging machine never bothers me all that much because like you have to agree to it. Whereas, like, when you, like, make people's faces who have passed away, I don't like that. That's the worst part to me. It was kind of weird to see the de-aging come back because I do remember, and I thought it was very kind that they didn't de-age Hayden Christensen when he came back for Ahsoka and Kenobi.
Oh, yeah. They're just, like, throw a bit of extra powder foundation.
Yeah,
let's smooth out some of the wrinkles with makeup.
We'll put him in a ponytail, and that pulls your face back a little. Naturally.
Yeah, staple the head back, and we're good.
I guess it was like 25 or 30 years that they flashed back for him, though, so that's a little bit more. But welcome to the de-aging machine.
Welcome to the de-aging
They're like,
machine.
we didn't spend all this money on de-aging technology to not de-age somebody.
The computer's sitting there.
We're making prequels here, people.
Yeah.
You're lucky we didn't de-age Diego Luna. That 2016 was Rogue One. That was a decade ago now.
Diego.
He looks so good.
He looks great.
He looks so great.
He looks great.
He looks exactly the same as he does in Rogue One.
He has incredible hair.
Yes.
Incredible hair. Just an incredible head of hair to the point where, like, I don't normally like long hair. I don't want to have long hair. I don't look at him and be like, I would look good in that, or I wish I had hair like that. But I'm just like, you are the platonic ideal of what that haircut should be. Just a perfect head of hair on a good-looking man.
It's a perfect head of hair on a good-looking man, but it is absolutely hair that will go wrong the second you don't have a stylist. The second you just wake up on your own and you're trying to do it yourself, it'll be like, no, it's going to flop in your eyes, or you're just going to have to slick it all back like a greaser. You're not going to know what to do with it without your stylist on hand.
Oh, that's an interesting point. That is possible.
But he looks so great, especially when he goes to Gorman the first time and he's like a fashion designer. I'm like, it's Diego Luna.
Get out of here.
Oh, boy.
Get out of here.
Yay for me. I hit my microphone. I was
too
so excited about how good Diego Luna looked.
He's a good-looking man. And a wonderful performer as well.
And
we
a
can't
wonderful
undercut
performer.
that. Yeah.
But that just goes without saying. And it maybe goes without saying that he's a good-looking man. But here we are.
Here we
saying
are.
It.
Here we are saying it. Here we are. Yeah, I liked his performance and what he brought to the arc this season. Whereas like last season was a little bit more of like I'm becoming a rebel, the exhaustion, the tiredness, the wanting something more and also realizing that the place that he's in is not conducive to that. And then later even realizing he might not get that, but the rebellion, rather than Luthen's side, the spy side. I don't know if there's a name for that collective or group really, but I don't know. I don't know if he's supposed to be.
The Empire was calling him Axis, but I don't know if that was Luthen or like Luthen's group was Axis.
Yeah. So like let's call them Axis.
We'll call them Freeze.
So Andor's character realizing that like, well, Axis is all about just nothing but giving up everything, give up everything, give up everything. I want to have something, so I'm going to go have it. And then joining the rebellion and realizing that he can't quite have it, but he's going to stay here because this is the place that fights for people like him to have the opportunity at the very least to have it, to have that freedom, the freedom to fail, the freedom for your loved one to walk out, the freedom to even have the option to have love lost, and learning to kind of fight for that, but to be just absolutely exhausted and a broken man while doing so. I love what he brings to the depth of this character throughout this.
Oh, see, because I liked how he was very broken until he got to Yavin. And then once he got to Yavin, he seemed like a rejuvenated man to me. He was like, you know what? We are free here. And as much as I, obviously am part of this rebellion and respect it, I'm going to do what I want because I'm free to save people the way I want. I'm going to fly to Coruscant and save Clea, even though I'm not supposed to and I don't have clearance. I'm going to do the same thing to Mon Mothma. I'm going to go save people, even though we haven't discussed it, which is a thing that I think this season isn't quite sure if it agrees with or not, because there's the episode on Gorman where it's like, if you don't follow rules, people die. And then the rebellion girl dies. I'm sorry, I don't have her name open. But it very clearly is like, if you don't follow rules in a rebellion, people die and you're going to fail. But then all throughout the second half, Cassian never follows rules. He disobeys orders every single time.
Right.
But I also think...
Cinta was the rebel's name.
Yeah. I think maybe they don't highlight enough that, rebelling is just doing the right thing.
Yes.
And if you're doing the right thing, it's fine.
I understand that. Yeah.
Because every time Cassian disobeys an order, it's to go save somebody.
But it's the difficulty of knowing the right thing to do. And are you being baited into doing the wrong thing as well?
As the season very clearly shows, the Empire will just feed you false information.
Yeah. Absolutely, they will, which is very tricky. And on a quick negative, because we've been very glowing so far, I'll drop a quick negative.
Hit me with an eggs.
There's a lot of different kind of plot lines, side stories, little mini arcs through characters that show up in Andor's life throughout this series and through our other main characters' lives. And I think the one that just doesn't work is Mon Mothma's kid's wedding. I just could not be bothered to give one shit about the whole wedding thing. I found it very boring. It brought us to wedding DJ, the droid DJ, who is
ready to dance.
An absolute banger is droid DJ, and Mon Mothma being sad while dancing is also a killer moment. But I just did not care about this wedding.
I liked the wedding. I don't know if it's because I just got married and I was in wedding mode.
Oh, snap.
Literally the week those episodes came out. I liked the wedding. I think it was slow-paced and tense in a way that really kept me on edge of I'm like, what's going to go wrong? And the fact that the thing that goes wrong is that her daughter sucks and she's making all these sacrifices for kids who don't appreciate it and are going to be shitty adults is a real tragedy that I understand. I think that was more powerful to me than Luthen killing her friend. But also there's the whole, obviously we're building the killing her friend possibly if we don't settle this. So I actually quite liked the whole wedding. I thought it was, just most of the time I just like looking at the costumes. Holy shit, I could watch Mon Mothma all day.
Beautiful.
The amount of costumes they made her, make her every season.
And the sets and the scenes and just the look of it all is absolutely
to
gorgeous.
Be an extra, every extra looking like $1 million in the background. So the wedding I could just watch over and over again. It might have been a little longer than it needed to, but I really liked the tragedy of the wedding. And it really highlighted what these rebel leaders are giving up. Even though they it looks like they just live in wealth and opulence. It's like she's giving up her best friend from childhood, and she's giving up her daughter to run this rebellion.
Yeah.
So I actually quite liked the wedding.
Okay, interesting.
But I can totally see not liking it. It's a bunch of little things that came together for me, and it's not really a big anything.
I liked it as a setting for some of the things that were going on there. So the things where it's Clea needs to remove the listening device from the art collection. Luthen is showing up and then doing the murder of the other guy, and that guy who we were rooting for in season 1 as the cool guy who's helping is now a drunk bumbling idiot who's I want more money now that I'm divorced. I am actually just kind of a trash divorced dad now, and it's fuck.
Oh yeah, he seemed like he was this high level guy, and he's I'm gonna get a recliner and the second fridge, and I'm gonna need some more money for another house because I'm divorced.
I have a green leather couch for sure in an apartment right now. I'm a divorced dad who's kind of a mess.
I've got a lot of frozen meals in the fridge. It's not going great.
It's not going great for him, and I found that entertaining. But the stuff with the actual sexual, and maybe it's because we don't have kids, and like that might connect with an entirely different audience that isn't us. But I just didn't kind of buy into that when the bigger picture stuff is like, is Luthen gonna assassinate this man? Can we afford a rebellion? No one's seen the Emperor, but boy, they're building some kind of a secret thing, and a planet might explode. My daughter's kind of a little shit. And I'm like, I feel like my daughter's a little shit is not the stakes that I'm in for.
I also feel like that's universal. She's a teenager.
Yeah, also it's just like...
I think in like 5 years, she'll be like, sorry, I was such a bitch at my wedding.
Literally, like 3 years from now, she could be like the biggest rebel in the world who's just like, I was not cool then. That was messed up of me.
I was kind of a bitch when I was 15 as well, and I'm really embarrassed about some of the shit I said to my mom, and I've apologized. And you just kind of become a different person.
Yeah. Eventually you become a different person.
I have a negative myself. Not actually so much a slight negative for me, and more of a question for you.
I love to be questioned.
I have a very clear blind spot that I'm about to bring up.
Oh, no. I hope it's not history stuff, because I'm not a history nerd.
It's no. I know what you're about. I know what you're thinking.
For those of you who are our patrons, you may know that we recently covered Sinners, and I knew like a couple of things, but not
really
a lot.
Cool,
and I appreciate you acknowledging that I knew a little, and I also appreciate some of our patrons for being like, you didn't know a ton, but bless your heart for trying. But Andor, I know this series, it's like some episodes, people are just like, well, yeah, that's clearly the battle of like blah, blah, blah in World War I. If you ever know what happened in that town, it's a direct parable. I don't have that, so please don't have a history.
I'm gonna talk to you about sexual chemistry.
Woo! There we go. Now that's what I know, baby.
I'm not going to put you on the spot about history. My question / negative is throughout the whole season. Now I'm very bad at feeling sexual chemistry from characters traditionally. We know this about me.
Sure.
So I will say for pretty much most of the show, I thought Biggs and Cass had brother and sister energy. I didn't feel a lot of romantic pull between them. I think maybe because Bix is so kind of messed up for most of the season, and Cassian spends the whole season just protecting her. It just felt like more brotherly. Every time it showed them in bed together, I was like, ew, isn't that your brother?
Well, I mean, Star Wars is a franchise that has been known to mix up those signals from time to time.
I think Tony Gilroy, the showrunner, knew whether or not Vix and Cassian from day one. Although, you know what? They never actually solved the Cassian's missing sister from season 1 storyline.
Oh, interesting.
In season 1, all the flashbacks are about how he left his sister behind when he left that weird planet, and we never meet his sister.
I don't have enough strong memories of that storyline to agree or disagree, but I'll just believe you. I'll just believe you.
So maybe Bix, Star Wars loves that.
I think that's gross at this point.
It's gross at this point.
Because
of the baby.
Because they have a baby now.
But yeah, did I miss it?
No, I don't think you did.
Okay.
I don't think that you did. I think that...
I believe they care about each other.
I do believe they care about each other. I would say at best, in terms of a romance, I don't think that these two necessarily work, especially within the rebellion or what this show is trying to say. And, eventually they kind of split apart. So maybe that is the intention as well. But the way they're portraying this relationship, it doesn't feel sibling to me. It doesn't read as modern romantic either. It reads as a very dated form of marriage. And I think part of that comes down to the performance a little bit. I think Adria Arellano, who plays Bix, I think it's a little bit flat. It's kind of being played as and I've seen like a bunch of joke reels about this type of character in films where it's like, it's the wife character who's watching her husband on TV do the heroic thing because she knows that he's the lead character, but she doesn't have a lot to say. She's just kind of waiting for him to be the lead character. And she's kind of bringing that energy, which is a shame because I do think that the writing has a lot more depth than that, but I don't think we're seeing those layers. So I think that the romance is kind of gone because she doesn't look at him like a sister, or like a brother. She doesn't look at him like a husband. She looks at him like the secondary character who's waiting for the lead character to speak. And it was rooting for the lead character to pull it all together and do it all, but it doesn't feel like she has agency or her own stuff going on. It really does feel like someone who's just waiting for the lead character to take over, which kind of makes it feel nothing.
Yeah, it does feel nothing. It reminds me of like the wives in Tombstone.
Yeah.
Is what she feels like. We move to the Wild West, and there's nothing for you to do except sit at home and be a wife, while I get to go tombstoning around / be Wyatt if you haven't seen Tombstone.
Yeah.
If you go cowboying. So yeah, a little bit like that, which maybe is the issue.
So a dated romance, perhaps.
A dated romance, because for a good couple episodes, she's messed up from being tortured, which totally understandable. But then they give this like nice ending of one episode where she gets to kill the guy who tortured her. And they have it as this triumphant thing, and it feels like, oh, Bix is really going to be part of the rebellion now. That's going to fix her. But then she's really just at Yavin making tea the rest of the whole show. And she never does she never goes out on another mission as far as we see. She doesn't participate. And, there's stuff to do at the home base, but she's never, for a woman who's a mechanic, she's never in like the airfield, air bay, like fixing ships or helping organize any of that stuff. She's just at home. She's like, more tea?
More tea, yeah. She makes wheat, she has a drug problem, and then she makes tea. And that's kind of her arc. It's not a lot. Which
is a shame, because like,
I do think on paper there is more written here. And I don't even think it's a bad performance. I just think it's a little bit of a flat performance. It's the performance of maybe like a ninth build character, not kind of where she is at in the storyline. Yeah.
All right. I'm glad I'm not crazy.
No, you're definitely not crazy.
I've missed it before, and you've been like, those people wanted to fuck so bad. And it seemed crazy that Diego Luna wouldn't have sexual chemistry with someone.
Yeah, because he's...
look at him.
Look at him. Look at him.
It seems impossible.
He's dripping.
It's kind of dumb that he's a spy, because who's like not noticing him walking by all the time?
People are going to take notice.
I'm going to be like, that's Diego Luna.
Look at this shit.
Oh, man.
Oh, boy.
I'm going to fan myself again several times.
But yeah, I think that their relationship just didn't pop.
Okay.
It just didn't pop on camera for whatever reason.
Excellent. I love to hear it. Love to not be crazy.
Yeah.
Not that I'm crazy. Unobservant.
Yeah.
Blind spot.
It's just that we all have our blind spots.
Little blind spot for me.
I appreciate you coming to me with the blind spot.
I appreciate you being excited about the blind spot I brought. I won't ask you anything about history.
I know.
Now, speaking of the French Rebellion, I'm sure
let's get back to fucking.
Actually, I do have one more thing.
Oh, yeah, we're back to fucking.
If you want to stay on this, it's actually my biggest negative of the whole series.
Whoa.
It's huge. It's very short, but I absolutely hated it. This is my... I will die on this hill, but I don't think this is bad, but it's definitely a thing I hate. I absolutely despise the last 30 seconds of this show being that Cassian has a child he never met. I think that sucks. This might be me being a person who doesn't have kids or want kids. I think a person's legacy and tragedy should be about the things they did and the people they are, and I don't think it should be lessened just because there's someone with half of Cassian's DNA out there who he didn't even raise. I think it's rude. I think it's a way to not consider people as a whole and just be like, it's fine. There's a kid out there who might look like Cassian. I'm like, I don't care. If he'd raised the kid, that's different.
That is different.
Because then you have made another rebel. Like, you can be a young Cassian. For him to just have a baby out there that he's never met, I'm like, this sucks. I don't like this. This feels like now it's all going to be, everything in the future will be about Cassian's kid. When are we going to see Cassian's kid instead of just being about Cassian's legacy?
I agree with you on that. I agree with you on all of it.
Oh,
wow. Wow.
Nice.
Am I that disagreeable?
No, I'm just, I thought this was going to be a real contentious point.
No, I agree with you. We're not kids people, but I do think it is, even if you love kids, I do think it's very reductive to be like, your legacy is the child you had. To be like, this man helped blow up the Death Star.
And
do you understand?
Before that, all the stuff he's done these last 2 seasons.
He helped bring freedom to the galaxy.
Yeah.
His legacy is not just this kid. So I do think that he is more than that, and it is reductive to reduce it to that. But what stood out to me, that didn't click in with me in the moment. I agree with you saying it now as a big picture theme thing. In the moment, all I felt was that the last 30 seconds of this show were the first and only 30 seconds of this show that felt like it was made by Disney and not by people who loved telling stories in this universe.
Okay.
It was the only one where it felt like Disney being like, yeah, but maybe there's an Andor season 3 and it's about his kid and he's fighting the First Order. It felt like executives pitching things in a room to be like, people have liked this show and we don't just want it to end at season 2. How do we get something in the next iteration of Star Wars? We're working on new movies and this stuff, and if it's popular, we don't want to let it die. This was the only real floundering Disney moment to me where I'm like, oh, this wasn't made by showrunners who wanted to warn us about authoritarianism. This was made by
a company.
By a company. Not even a company made this decision.
Well, no, two Disney moments, because the baby was also a DH Diego Luna. They put him in the super de-aging machine.
Well, I could even see Disney having conversations to
Do
be
we
like,
have photos of what Diego Luna looked like as a baby?
I thought it would be like Diego Luna plays his own child.
Oh, you could, because the
To
time
be like,
jumps
we
are
still want to
huge.
cash in on Diego Luna.
You know what? The time jumps are huge in this, but that would be weird. That's
would
not
be
quite
weird.
how anything works.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I would even understand. I would even accept it more if he was a Force user, and then it's like, oh, more Force users.
Sure.
Because that's more of an implication of like, oh, that could definitely come up, because that actually is kind of important.
Because of the midichlorians.
Because of the oh, was he a midichlorian man?
Because of the midichlorians.
Did he shoot some midichlorians into juice into her? Gross. I don't like that I said that.
Yeah, no.
I don't feel good about it.
Well, hey, that's why you come to me for the sex
I
talks.
know you
Just
take
leave it to
care
me.
of them in the future.
Yeah.
So yeah, didn't like Secret Kid, but I don't mind. De-aging Diego Luna to play a baby. I'm just making that up. I'm starting
fine.
this rumor now.
Yeah, that's what they did.
He went into the machine.
That's great.
He's like, you can't turn me back 10 years, but you can turn me back 35.
Yeah, they put him in like the machine Ant-Man goes into in Endgame. They made him a baby.
Time went through him.
Time went through him, you see. But yeah, I'm with you there. I disliked it for corporate reasons, but I also agree with you on all of the thematic ones. Now, one thing this show did as a bigger picture thing that I really enjoyed as well, and this is something that we have been talking about and advocating for a long while, which is that more streaming services should be playing around with format RE distribution and how they're doing it. And this show doing a 3-episode per week thing, which is similar to like some shows have done 3 episodes at launch, 1 episode weekly, or things like that.
Pretty like standard for Amazon Prime.
That's kind of a new thing now. But for this to do 3 weekly, and each 3 is a 1 or I think sometimes 2 year, but like a time jump leading up to the Battle of Yavin. That was brilliant, and it allowed them to do these like little microcosms and these little hits, and then you get like the story of the Gorn and all of these things coming together as like these are season 1, and then like 2 different arcs in here are about pieces of building the Death Star. It's a brilliant structure and format. I love how they executed that.
They executed it perfectly. And yeah, it is the only show that's played with release structure in a fun way. Because when I saw that it was released three per week, I actually thought this season was probably going to suck. It felt like they were trying to get it out quick.
Dump it. Yeah, dump it out.
It felt like they were dumping it. It felt like I was like, oh no, it must be bad. Because they did part of this during the writer and actor strike. They were like, I guess not during the actor strike, but they filmed some of this because the writers went on strike first.
Okay.
So there was like talk that some of it might be bad because they couldn't fully, and Disney was like, keep going, keep making it.
Yeah.
So there was a rumor. So I was like, oh no, 3 a week. That's probably, they're just trying to get it over and done with. But then you watch it like, oh no, there was a plan. You're fucking, Luthen wrote this. Luthen planned this whole thing from the beginning. We're going to have 3 episodes drop a week, and they're going to be 1 year of the rebellion. And then you can feel how long it takes to build these things. But it gives you hope when you're in the middle of building something. If you're at the beginning, you're like, maybe in a few years we could have Yavin. We're not there yet, but we can see that it happens. The release structure of 1 every year of like how things can go bad, but how things can get better. It made a great like weekly like, let's see what happens this year.
Yeah, and it makes the characters feel like tired and exhausted, and the world feel lived in, and it's just very nice. Yeah,
it's very nice. But you can also understand if it jumps a year and they're like a little less tired or they're more tired. It's just, oh yeah, we missed a year.
It allows it to tonally shift as well. Yeah, brilliant. It's brilliant stuff.
I mean, speaking of tonal shift, were you done?
No, no. That's it. I just like that, and we've been yelling for so long.
Do something cool. I even like weekly release. I love talking about a thing, but this is such a better way to like talk about a thing. It's like this year was the Gorm year.
It's not even about doing something cool. It's about doing something mindful, I think is what we're always advocating for in this podcast, where sometimes there's a show that dumps all at once. And it's like, you're not a binge show. You're not an all at once. Why is this happening? Like, and it's like, these aren't ending on cliffhangers, which is what you want on a binge-worthy show, is an episode that leads you into the next. They're just ending on random scenes, which makes it a 20-hour movie. It's not mindful. Or then there's ones that are like weekly releases, and it's like, this was a binge show. So we just want someone to be like, hey, we thought about how you are going to experience it when we were making it, and then we released it as such.
And then we said,
Mwah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We did like that.
Yeah.
That was delicious.
Not every show needs to reinvent it. Some of them can be weekly, but this one was very smart in terms of how it executed it. But you were ready to move on to another thought.
I was going to add another slight, it's not a Disneyfication because it's canon, but I will say the tone of the show changes as soon as we get K2SO. Alan Tudyk might be too good.
He's too fun.
He's
just too fun.
Because it just like the encroaching power of the Empire feels like it disappears when you have super fun Alan Tudyk in a wildly powerful robot who's just destroying fools.
Yeah.
But it is fun.
It is fun.
It is
Are you with us? No. Boom.
Backhand.
Awesome.
Backhanded a man to death.
Awesome.
He backhanded him straight off a bridge.
How casual he is about it.
Boom.
Awesome. Awesome.
So he's absolutely awesome. But I'm conflicted about the tone that he brings. Of like, it doesn't feel quite as serious and grounded, but it's also just so awesome.
But he also comes in at the last minute as well. Like, it's only 2 episodes. It's not even the full 3
Not even the full
bulk.
3, I don't think. But because we got to get him there for Rogue One. He has to have K2SO already. But it's a weird like, oh, I guess that was pretty easy because K2SO was here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Breaks the tension.
It breaks the tension, and it also shows why they bonded as well, of like K2 coming in at a moment when his partner has left him and he needs like a constant friend around as well, and like them playing cards and this and that. Like, I like the showing of the bond in a moment when Cassian needed it kind of coming in.
Yeah, that was nice because in the movie they're just already bonded and you're like, I guess he just reprogrammed this droid to do what he says, but it's nice to see that there's more of a friendship there as well.
It is sincere.
It is sincere.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, I love you, Alan Tudyk.
Yeah.
God, you're so good.
So good. But yeah, I get it. It is conflicting. He does bring a comedic charm to it, which, may not necessarily be the series, but he's coming in at the last mile, and then kind of breezes it through. And then we have other people that they're setting up for, Rogue One throughout the series. Saw Gerrera, whose backstory is just that he likes huffing gas. And that's why this whole, like, why does he have the breathing apparatus and talk like that in Rogue One? And then, like, for this series to have just a scene where he's just like, you take the gas and breathe it in, and it makes your insides feel like fire. Ooh, I love it. And it's like, oh, you're an addict is why you're like that.
You're an addict who's insane.
And that's why you're also so unpredictable for the rebellion.
I mean, because even in Rogue One, he's got some kind of like weird squid that reads your mind and makes you go crazy or whatever, if you recall.
Yeah. I recall.
You recall? Okay. So he's like, he definitely was introduced as being crazy. But yeah, when you see a man who's got a breathing apparatus, you expect some kind of Darth Vader-esque I fell into a volcano storyline of why your breathing's all fucked up, not I love huffing gas.
Love gas.
I love making other rebels huff gas. Willman? Woo!
Breathe it in, dude. And he breathes it in. He's like, yeah, that rules. And then it like cuts to him later being like, I got a wife. I can't be with Saw Gerrera sniffing glass no more.
Yeah,
I love that as a transition
I love that for
as
Willman. Willman just being like, that was fun, man, but no, that's not how we're going to play this.
To transition from party boy to husband material, you love to see that kind of character arc.
Hell, if only Mon Mothma's friend from high school could have done the same.
Oh, if only. If only.
He could have learned a lot from Wilma.
Could have learned to be like the party. There's a time for party, and there's a time where partying is over.
A serious rebellion, and then the party rebellion, which is what Saw Gerrera's doing.
Saw Gerrera is the party rebellion.
Saw Gerrera's where they're like, we're rebelling and having fun, but probably too much fun.
Yeah, maybe too much fun.
Whereas they're playing poker on Yavin. And Saw Gerrera's huffing gas.
Well, I wasn't sure with Saw Gerrera's group, the party group, as they will now be known. I wasn't quite sure if I can't remember if it was episode 2 or 3, the one where Andor is trapped on that planet where he was supposed to do the handoff, and there's just like 2 random groups of people.
That's episode 1, 2, 3, and I was very annoyed, actually. This is another negative for me.
That was one of the weakest storylines that he goes on, but I think they were trying to go for a metaphor, a parable, for them to be like, all these people want the same thing, but their inability to work together is what's causing them all to fail and turn against one another. And I think that was maybe meant to be the difference between Luthen's Axis and Mon Mothma's rebels, or maybe the difference between Saw Gerrera's group of insurgencies and the traditional rebels that we know. Just this like idea to be like, see, you can all want the same thing, and actually if you can't work together and you're constantly competing for resources and clawing at one another, you're not going to get anywhere. And I think that's what they were going for, but it was still just kind of felt like it happened while they were killing time a little bit.
Yeah, I think there could have been a real parable there. I agree, of like what's going on with the rebels having to work together, and even within Rogue One, because they won't authorize the Rogue One mission. They all sneak out. The rebels being too careful. There could be a very good parallel there, but they just don't do any. They do such a poor job of even explaining who these people are. I'm not even sure they were rebels, because they're not who.
Oh, I don't think they were. I think they were just randos.
They were just randos.
Yeah.
So, like, why weren't they?
But I think it was a metaphor for what's going on in the
but
rebellion.
if they were just like shittier rebels who weren't good at it, or if it was just made more clear what was even going on, like, I was really bored and annoyed. I'm like, they're all dumb, and there's no lesson to be learned here, except like working together means you don't die. But it's also taking 3 episodes to get there.
I do agree that the lesson
It took way too long. And also, I'm like, why did you steal that cool ship? We didn't do anything with that cool ship.
Oh yeah, I guess we didn't do anything with the cool ship.
I kept expecting that that was going to be like his rescue ship that he comes and rescues like Clea with, or Mon Mothma. He's like, no, I've got a cool high tech ship. I must be an Empire pilot.
Yeah, and now I have K2 as well.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, he just steals that for no particular reason. I don't even see it at like Yavin.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a great point.
Just he needed a way to get kidnapped later, because the stealing of the ship was great. It was funny.
Does that come up in Rogue One? Am I forgetting?
I don't think so.
All right, well, whatever.
Listen, I haven't watched it for a while, but I don't think so.
I don't think so, but anyway.
So the first couple episodes, the Cassian stuff doesn't work for me. I will say I like how the different years are about different ways that authoritarianism is bad, because the first chunk is about like immigration, not breakdowns, but like the way that they
raids,
raids, the way that they make life unnecessarily difficult.
Yeah,
like they just won't let people be free. They won't let you just work the land and have a job. They're gonna come for you. And so that it's an immigration storyline. Then it's like fascism, authoritarianism on Gorman, and then the last couple are just like Star Wars. I don't know if there's a parallel what's going on with going to save Clea.
Yeah.
I don't think that's anyone in particular. That's just about now we're rebels.
Yeah, just about now we're rebels, and Clea's a badass and rules. But
it's very great the way they break it down of like there's not just one way that the Empire sucks. It's not just sucks that they're building a Death Star.
It's every way.
It's every way that life exists. Sucks.
And
even if you try to get away from them and you're working a field in the middle of nowhere, they're going to find you and ask for your papers.
And I think it's even in that speech that the rebel has in season 1, where he's like, it's too much simultaneously for us to keep track of. So it's like if you are on the farming planet, you are having daily breakdowns, different zone restrictions. They're checking your paperwork, and you can't do this. If you're on the fashion planet, you're like, why are they building an armory next to a memorial? What is going on? So it's like everyone's dealing with their own shit, and no one's willing to communicate and work together for the bigger whole. So it's that idea of like, but it's not necessarily their fault, because that's the idea of oppression, which is to hammer everything at once from all angles and prevent you from having any breathing room to communicate or organize in any way.
Yeah, definitely. And I like that. I love that a lot about Andor. I think the speech is like it's easier to hide behind 40 atrocities than one, which is very much like what the Republicans do now. They're like, we're going to toss out 5 things a day that the news can't keep up with.
Yeah, 1,000%.
In a way, I mean, I think the Empire's biggest problem is that they went too big with the Death Star. The Death Star is a gift of too huge an atrocity to ignore.
Right.
Like blowing up an entire planet is so much different than just slowly taking over Gorman over 5 years and installing mining equipment and making them look like the bad guys, the inhabitants.
These psyop operations.
Yeah, I mean, just blowing up Alderaan is very much a like, they're the bad guys, and then they're going to blow up you too. The leopards will eat your face. It's kind of a gift given to Cassian of like, there's all these small ways that he's helped, but it's like, it must have been so nice to be like, you can stop a Death Star. He's like, fuck, I would love to stop one big thing.
Yeah. Well, it's a Luthen was right to a certain degree when they're talking about like Gorn's going to be lost as a planet, and Luthen's like, that's great. That's great for us.
That's great for us.
That's great. We've needed something like that to happen to inspire us.
We need a giant sacrifice of like a planet that's in good standing, is wealthy and rich and beloved.
And he's right. Like, he's heartless, but he is right in this circumstance for like, well, like, this is what the optics will do. This is what things will change people. And even people who've always been part of the rebellion, like Mon Mothma, like used that as the like, this is my opportunity to speak up in the Senate and actually call out Emperor Palpatine by name, which is bananas and powerful stuff. So that works really well. Yeah. Yeah, so there's some powerful, very interesting stuff as well, and that first 3-episode thing, it's never as fun when characters are broken up. We're never really a fan of that in media in general. But there was some decent stuff on the farming planet. But
I liked the stuff on the farming planet. Everything with Cassian was kind of like, what's even happening? I hate all these people. But that's probably one of my only like big negatives of the season. Even
the Imperial as well, who says in conversation, which is just a straight up conservative talking point, like a problem with their perspective, when he's just like, not everyone has paperwork, but we need undocumented people to be farmers to get this done for us because we're not doing it. And to be like, yeah, that's a legitimate thing where it's like, conservative people love cracking down on undocumented laborers and then also love profiting and hiring undocumented laborers. To be like, yeah, you're the anti-union, pay people less than what we can pay them people, but you're also the get anyone out of here if they're not a legal immigrant.
Yeah, which puts everyone in such a crazy state of flux because even when they're wondering, even when they're wondering if they should run, their friend who like lives there and clearly is documented is like, well, they're letting some people go because we need workers, but some people they're arresting. It's just chaos. It's just chaos. It's just roll of the dice whether they feel like arresting you or not.
I am also quite surprised as well. I will say, just like, I'm only going to brush upon this subject. Skip ahead 1 minute for sensitivity warning for sexual assault. But I am very surprised that on a Disney Star Wars property that they used the R word. That when Bix says he tried to rape me, I was kind of jarred because I have been watching popular art for decades dance around that word. Anything that is not independent art made for adults dances around that word and tries to imply it and make the audience say it and wants you to think it and might address the subject, but they don't like saying the word.
No,
because that's too real for a lot of people to deal with. And I respect that they used the word.
I absolutely respect it. And this feels like a Penguin thing where it's like, I mean, actually, season 1 was really good. It's like, how did you get away with this, Tony Gilroy? Like, was Disney not watching?
Yeah.
They said the word rape on a Star Wars show that connects to a Star Wars movie that is a direct prequel.
Yeah.
That, like, people are going to watch for years.
That they sell toys for,
Yeah. Like, there's probably a Bix toy.
Yeah.
And I mean, it happened and she said it, and that's great. I think the last time I would have heard actually said in a show is like Law and Order.
Right.
And even then, that Sexual Victims Unit.
Yeah, even then it needs to be an episode of SUV. Yeah.
But even then, like, it's not in the title.
Or SVU,
SVU. Even then, I think they say assault a lot.
Yeah. Yes, they do.
For her to just scream that out about like, this is what the Empire does.
Yeah, they're bad people.
They're bad?
They're bad people. I don't know if you heard about this.
Are you They didn't arrest everyone, though. They're just following the rules.
Oh, right, the rules.
Cyril's just following the rules.
Cyril's just following the rules. You can be both a victim and a perpetrator in many ways.
Whoa.
And those percentages change from person to person. Cyril, I might give a 20-80. You know, Deidre, I might be giving a 70-30. You know, the splits are going to be a little different.
Splits are going to be different. I mean, on top of words that I'm surprised they said. I mean, because this is like a hot topic word. I was also surprised they said genocide, which is,
yes,
you know what, like a common enough word, but a real hot topic.
Yeah.
So yeah, the fact that they just drew the exact like pretty close parallel, and she was like, "This is a genocide," and you're all pretending it's not.
Yeah. They fought back, and now the government is using that as an excuse to commit a genocide. I was like, wow.
Yeah, two things I didn't think this show was going to be allowed to say.
Yeah. Tony Gilroy, do you have no super? It's awesome. It's awesome. But like,
no, we're just making a little prequel show. Don't worry about it.
Excuse me? Like, what?
How are you getting away with this? He had to agree to DH Stellan Skarsgård.
Yeah, and add the baby in case they want to do
in exchange for these two words.
What a deal. I don't know what kind of bribery photographs of executives at Disney that Tony Gilroy has.
A man who I'm like, who even are you, Tony Gilroy? I'm sure if I clicked on your name, it'd be cool stuff.
Yeah, but absurd.
Absurd.
Well, I'm feeling pretty good about Andor. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Yeah, I like that. I like that it inspires and it informs, and it was full of great performances. I'm a little bit sad now thinking about like all the big moments in season 1 that this didn't have, like the heist and the prison break. But still, an incredibly important, powerful, great great season of television.
Yeah, I fully agree. Well, let's go in for the close. Let's ask the final question. As great as it was, if you could change anything about this show, what would you change? Before we do ask the final question, we'll remind you every week. I'm going to round this all up rapid fire. If you haven't already, please rate, review, and subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podcast Addict, or wherever you get your podcasts. It helps us move up the charts, and it supports us in the algorithm, so it makes it more likely that we get recommended to new people, and it makes it more likely that they'll actually click and listen and give us a shot, because people do check those reviews, and that's a free way to support the show. If you want to support the show monetarily, you can do that over on our Patreon page at patreon.com/FromSuperheroes, where there's lots of different monthly options depending what is in your budget. You can do as little as $1 a month, in which case you will get our webcomic one day early, or at least one day early. At the $3 level a month, you can get these episodes early and ad-free, which are fantastic for new releases if you want to know whether or not they're worth your time. And at the $10 hero level, you'll get a bonus episode of this podcast every single month, including this month's episode, which we did on Sinners, which was a wonderful and intelligent episode. Thank you to all those who listened and commented. And when you sign up at that level, you get full access to the complete back catalog. So check out all of the options over at patreon.com/FromSuperheroes. That is patreon.com/FromSuperheroes.
What just happened? Do you have somewhere to be?
I just felt like doing that.
It was amazing.
Your face lighting up as I burned through all of that was great.
I feel like I should have like done a quick bathroom break if I'm not going to be part of it, which is fine because you nailed it.
I don't think you could have gotten a bathroom break.
I mean, I couldn't have gotten a bathroom break. I couldn't get a word in edgewise in that beautiful, smooth read about all the ways to support talk from superheroes.
That's one take eye of me right there.
One take. You guys don't know about one take eye of me, but like we never edit shit.
we rarely edit. I'm one take eye of me. I get shit done. They love me in the VO booth. Let me tell you.
In the VO booth, you're very popular.
There's a reason I narrated a TV show. There's a reason I'm in commercials. There's a reason that I read the phenomenal audiobook from Diana McCollum, Sex Lives of Superheroes.
Actually, I knocked on your door frequently, and I was like, "Say it again."
Yeah, that's true too. But
no, I didn't. But you did a great job.
One take out of me. Well, let's go in for the close. Let's ask the final question. Now that we have discussed everything we've discussed about this podcast, this show, now my words have gone. One take eye of me. There's no going back.
Hey, you did discuss everything there is discussed about this podcast in one take.
Awesome. What would you change about this if you could change anything? Diana?
My changes aren't very interesting because we already talked about both of them.
I hate to hear that.
I hate to hear it. I'm sorry. You came all this way. You listened to Andrew's cool one take about how to support us, and now I'm just coming in with bullshit you've already heard because we already talked about it. No kid at the end. Absolutely hate that. Feels rude to Andor and everything he's done, that he is just subjugated to being a a father at the end as his legacy. Don't like that. My bigger change is all the stuff about the first 3 episodes with Cassian being kidnapped. I want the plane to be a bigger thing later. I'd like that to call back of like, oh, cool, the plane. It's all coming together. And yeah, there needs to be some... I actually don't mind the idea of this. He's kidnapped by 2 sides that can't work together but should be working together. It just doesn't read and it doesn't teach a theme, and it's just too messy about who these people are, why they're even fighting, who they even think Cassian is. It's just really messy. I mean, I think it just needs to be just cleaned up with a few lines of dialogue, and I don't really know what else it needs, because there is definitely like a parable there of like people with the same goals need to work together and can't be torn apart by more powerful forces who are trying to turn them against each other. But that's not really what comes across. It's just a bunch of annoying people who seem dumb. It doesn't seem like they're smart people who can't trust. It seems like idiots who don't know what's going on. So it's hard to find a parallel there that's enjoyable. So kind of just make them smarter and more paranoid. Maybe they huff the Saw Gerrera gas.
There it is.
Maybe they're Saw Gerrera rebels, and that's like a little bit crazier. They huff the gas. They don't know who to trust. So yeah, no kid, and then the rebel stuff's a little cleaned up from the first, or the kidnapping rebels or whoever they are from the first 3 episodes are cleaned up a bit. Andrew, what would you change?
I like that. I'm definitely on board with cleaning up some of the kidnapping rebels. My big change would be cutting out the Force-sensitive person predicting Cassian's future.
Oh, that's going to be controversial. People really liked that.
I found it a buzzkill because I really liked that there wasn't Force stuff in this.
Yeah.
I think there's maybe a version of it that works, but it's sloppy as it is right now, especially where it's like, then you get this prophecy and Bix is like, well, they said you're important, so I got to get out of here. And I'm like, what? Why? You've never brought up the Force before. There's never been this I believe in an old religion you don't believe in type of a thing. It's just a like, Bix walks in and is like, hey, your shoulder hurts. Something happened, between episodes. It's like, your shoulder hurts. There's like a Force healer. Is that anything? And then the Force healer's just like, oh, you're important. And I'm like, but I know that as an audience member because I know where this all goes. It's a fucking prequel, so you're wasting my time. This means nothing to Cassian. This is a religion Bix, I think, just found out about and then believes completely in a weird way where I'm like, it was still pretty cryptic and not a direct line of anything. So I'm like, it fucks up everyone's lives, but in a way that doesn't make sense to me and tells me a bunch of stuff that I already know, and it doesn't impact the plot or direction of this series. So I found it just really annoying and just kind of a downer reminder to be like, oh, remember that this is the Wizard universe. You're in the Wizard universe. I know we haven't brought up wizards for like 12 hours, but this is the Wizard universe. And I'm like, fuck, man. You really kind of harshed the near tears that I was getting as this series was building up by reminding me about space wizards.
Yeah, because we've been dealing with just regular humans for 2 seasons now.
Yeah.
Who have, through their own sheer will and no superpowers, are fighting the rebellion.
Yeah, yeah. And now they're space wizards. So yeah, I very much disliked it, and I want that out of there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't mind it. I kind of like a little moment of not so much the Force being there, but just in a little especially because I already know what he's going to do and it doesn't affect his mind at all of what he's going to do. I kind of like a little foreboding of oh, you're going to do something big. I'm like, he does do something big. You nailed it, girl. I like that he feels important, but it also shouldn't change anyone's perspective of him.
Yeah.
Because then, maybe you wouldn't send him on important missions. You'd be like, he's important, I guess. I don't know.
And also, there was a dozen people on that mission. Is this girl going around saying it to Akbar at the base, Mon Mothma? These are all really fucking important people everywhere.
Everyone on the base, even just the guy who is ordering everyone around, the captain. He's wildly important.
Are you going around being shittily cryptic to everybody? I don't like it.
Maybe she tells everyone the same thing to inspire everybody. It's like when you tell someone that you're the only one my cat likes.
Yeah.
And then you feel really special.
Yeah.
You're like, the Jedi lady said I was really important.
Pretty cool, huh?
Cool.
Must be nice.
Maybe that's her game.
That would be fun. That would be fun.
But
I think they kind of played that with Kumail in Obi-Wan as well.
Oh.
With Kumail's character, it's like, I'm pretending to be a Jedi. Yeah.
But I can respect that change. That seems like a personal taste of like, nope. And it is a weird like, oh yeah, Jedi.
Yeah. I think that, there's maybe a way that they could have done it, but my simple fix would be to just get rid of it. Cool. Well, that's going to be it for this week for talking about Andor Season 2. We will be back next week on the podcast. And next week, we will be talking about the final reckoning of the Mission: Impossible. We'll be talking about Mission: Impossible Final Reckoning.
Are there 2 colons in that title? Is it
No.
Mission: Impossible: the final? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have.
The films have always, the first movie was Mission: Impossible.
Yes.
And they've all been Mission: Impossible, and then it just says, there's no second colon, there's no M dash.
It just keeps going.
There should be a separator, but really it's Mission: Impossible: The Final Reckoning is how it is phrased.
How do we feel about a bracket?
I could walk with the bracket.
Because I don't want 2 colons.
I like an M dash. I like an M dash in that scenario.
I'm not an M dash girl.
You're not an M. People who are M dash people, that's the only punctuation they use. You know what I mean?
I'm not one of those.
And you're not one of those.
It's
M dash people are chaos demons, and I respect it. There are days where I'm like, no punctuation, just M dash.
I respect it as well, but it's just not me.
I understand that. Well, we'll be back talking about that next week. In the meantime, if you want to get a hold of us, you can find me most places. I am at Ivimey, Ivimey.
You can find me at Words of Diana.
And you can find both of us at From Superheroes. And we'll talk to y'all next week.
Bye.